when Napoleon was going into Europe after the French Revolution, a lot of people were happy to see Napoleon, because they didn't like the royalty that over them. Napoleon, of course, beat Austria in a war.
Now, I don't know whether you.
A lot of other European
The
countries
bishop retired.
welcomed that,
Father began.
and Croatia, I think, was part of Austro-Hungary. When Napoleon went into the Croatian area, he wanted to start a new country called Illyria. and there was an ancient Illyria. They're the same people that now inhabit Kosovo. They covered all that northern Greece, going all the way to just about Italy. That was all their territory, and the Slavs moved in there and took that territory over from them. But Napoleon was recruiting people from all different countries, and they had a large contingent of Croatians. And the Croatians were considered very good fighters, and in order to stand out from all the other troops, they wore a colorful scarf around their neck. The French called it a cravat, for Croatian or cravat. And that's how we got the cravat or the tie. But my dad came from Lika, Lika. That's a mountainous area between, well, it was between Italy and Croatia at that time. What happened was, years ago, Visigoths, they were German tribes, tried to move into the Ukraine and ran smack into Mongol tribes. The problem that the Germans had was when they were moving east, they moved as families, had their grandfather and grandchildren and their all this baggage that couldn't do anything except consume food, consume resources. So the Germans were pushed back by the Mongolian tribes. Well, then they went further west down to Spain, and from Spain across the small isthmus to Africa. And they went along Africa, and then they came up from Africa to Italy, and they invaded Italy, and that's when the Visigoths were blamed for all the statue destruction and all the marble destruction. Actually, the Visigoths didn't do all that destruction. After the Visigoths left, the builders needed to make cement. They made cement by heating the marble until it became calcium oxide and hydroxide, and they mixed that with sand and so on, and they built their stuff with concrete. Well, the Visigoths were eventually pushed down by the Romans, and are pushed over this one island north of Italy, one mountain north of Italy, and that mountain was Lika, where my dad came. My dad was on one side of the mountains, and so that he was probably one of the Visigoth Germans. He was blonde, blue-eyed, like a lot of Croatians and Slovenians in that area. But my dad's family lived on a mountain, had a farm, raised sheep. He herded some sheep. So he was a sheep herder at one time. But this was when Austro-Hungary owned that land. And anyone that had 10 sons would get a pension for life. So my grandfather had 9 sons. And he tried once more. His wife was just very close to going into menopause. And the last kid was a girl. Tetatonchka. And my dad he left when she was about 2 years old. I didn't see her again until he went back to Croatia with my mother and met his sister for the first time in some over 60 years. But hi, dear.